When you study for a test, Nick, if you've done all the homework, you should be able to pick any problem from any of those worksheets and be able to do it. Okay, India? If you can't do that, then that means you need to put some time into studying and say, oh, let me look this over and see if I can remember how to do it. You have all the answers. You take any one of your worksheets, cover up the answers, and can you solve the problem? Because the tests are going to be just like that. And if you can do the review one, we could take the review worksheet and we could take it like a practice test. Okay, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to review right now, and you're going to ask me questions if there's something you don't know. And this unit is all about parabolas. And there's something interesting about the domain for all parabolas. So draw a parabola on your graph. Okay, Jane, you going to draw one? You need a pencil? Okay, so I'm just going to draw any old parabola. Actually, I'm going to try and draw something decent.
What's parabola? Oh my God.
For this? No. This is a review. And I can put that parabola anywhere I want. Oh, let me try and get that all together as one instead.
Oh, just couldn't draw that.
Well, you can draw any old parabola.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so I can move this parabola wherever I want, and I will have intercepts of some sort. And we'll have to talk about it. No, you can't do that, but we can put it wherever we want. I can put it right here, or I can put it here. How about if I put it right there? Now, I forgot to put the arrows on my parabola. I always forget to do that. But they go forever in the upward direction. So what's true about the domain? What is the domain? Maybe that's a better question. What's the domain? It's the x-axis. It's the horizontal axis. So it's the horizontal inputs. Now, I don't like to use x because it might be a t or it might be something else. So, I don't always know. But what's true with the domain for all my parabolas? Jesse, what's true with it? It's negative infinity to infinity. I can put in any number I want into a quadratic equation. It's f of x is going to have some sort of x squared term in it. Okay, how do you find the range? What is range? You're right, it's the vertical, and it's the outputs. Once you choose an input, it's what the output is. So the range will be the y values. And how do I find it? I find either the lowest or the highest point on the graph. And this point is where the lowest one is, and it's going to go up this way. So what am I going to write for the range on this one in particular? Negative what? Negative 3 to infinity. This must be a bracket because it does get there. And hopefully we'll give you nice numbers like these. It's just a bracket like this. This means I don't get to include it. Okay, now what are the x-intercepts? No, what are x-intercepts? It's where the graph crosses what? The x-axis. That's easy. And we always write this as an ordered pair. So you may have to make some flashcards or whatever to remember these things. But it's the x-intercepts, so it's the x-axis. What are the x-intercepts here? Sarah, can you give me one?
What?
One of the x-intercepts.
5.
5 comma what? 0. Okay, you guys? They have to be ordered pairs. Negative 1, 0. Okay, this is a different notation than this interval notation. So that can be confusing. I can see how that could be confusing. Okay, what about the y-intercepts? What's the y-intercept? Joey, do you know what that is? It's where the graph crosses India, question? Where the graph crosses the y-axis. We have a quiz on this. I'm reviewing this so we do a little bit better, I hope, on the quiz. Yes?
Fine.
Test is right. Now, the quiz is the 15%. Superlative. At 240, you may. Okay, we're looking for a y-intercept. Where does this cross the y-axis? At -2. Now, which one's -2, the x or the y? The y. Now, I'll be honest, it's hard for me to keep it straight. I have to think a little bit extra. It's 0, -2. Notice something about the intercepts. One of the values is 0. Okay? So you must always give me ordered pairs. And now I want the axis of symmetry, which looks like it's this line right here. How do I write that line? It's x, because it's x coordinate. What is x equal to? 2. Once I find the axis of symmetry, I then can find the vertex if I know the function. In this particular case, we're just going to read the vertex off our graph. So where's the vertex on this graph? There. The vertex is right here. So what's the x-coordinate? Jack? What's the x-coordinate here? 2, -3. And if you just do the assignments and you study them so you remember what all those words mean, then it's easy. Okay, how do you find the vertex? Where is the vertex? It's either the lowest point or it's the highest point. It could be upside down. So if you have to use my graphing calculators today, you're going to have to go in and find a maximum, or you're going to have to trace. You have to use a calculator. So you're going to have to use your calculator on your iPad. No, you need to know this. That's why we're reviewing it. That's all there is. Now, if I know the function, all I do to find the vertex, if f of x, if that's what I have, equals something, all I do is evaluate f, where x is equal to the axis of symmetry. And we can go back and look at a couple problems off of the worksheet for today, which reviews your assignment for tomorrow. The green one is similar. Joey. That's the axis of symmetry. It's an equation of a line. That's the equation of this line, x equals 2. So we can look at any one of those. Okay, so we can look at the orange sheet. I won't bring up a new smartboard. Okay, so that's everything really there is to know about parabolas. Remember when we did quick graphing for slopes and intercepts? This is the same kind of thing. You're looking for the x-intercepts. How do you find the axis of symmetry? Where are the x-intercepts here? We're at -1 and +5. And do you remember what you do? You add them up and divide by
Oh, you never got this.
2. So what is that? That's 4 over 2. So x is equal to 2 if you're going to do it algebraically. So I did it both graphically and algebraically, halfway between -1 and 6. You can count if you'd like, unless the numbers are big, in which case then you're in trouble. Okay. Do you know what all the parts of the graph are? The x-intercepts, y-intercepts, axis of symmetry, and the vertex. The vertex is either the lowest point or the highest point. This is the line of axis of symmetry right there.
Okay, where is the range?
The range starts at the bottom of the graph or the top of the graph, depending on what it is, and goes forever in one direction.
Where's the y?
The y-intercept is where the curve crosses the y-axis. Okay? Now this is a matching thing. You can just draw lines. They don't match right now. I'll tell you that right now. And yet, the first question on the quiz is, do you know what the forms are? Do you remember what the first one is called?
It's not the
No.
associated.
No, it's ax squared plus bx plus c. Maybe you recognize the second one.
Oh, we're doing a standard.
What's
No,
there?
step form.
Well, which is which? What's the first one? No, it's not vertex.
I go draw lines.
No, you can actually drag them. Okay, so we're just going to drag them. You'll have to draw lines. Jesse? Math.
Okay,
Nope. Nope.
you're confusing me so much. Okay, hang on, this is vertex.
Nope.
I'm moving it down.
Okay, that's vertex form, that's standard form, and that's intercept form.
What is BPP?
We're going to get to ZPP.
I don't like BPP. I'm not like BPP.
Yes? Yes? Okay, Jane, have a seat, please. 1. Jane? Okay. These give you the intercepts. This has to do with zero product property. If this is equal to 0, now what is zero product property? Well, it's the zero product. Okay, Nick? Which means that if I have two numbers, Selah? Yes, in a minute. Selah?
Yeah.
India?
Yeah. Oh, India. Right, I got it.
Okay, if the product of two numbers is 0, then what has to be true about one of them?
Has to be negative.
No, product, multiplication. 3 times what gives me 0? 0. One of them has to be 0. Either the first one's 0 or B is 0. Okay, so if I look up here, either x minus x1 is equal to 0 or x minus x2 is equal to 0. If I solve for x, and I can just make up something, we'll actually do a problem off your worksheet, I can find the x-intercepts. We didn't do much with vertex form. The vertex is at HK. That's why it's vertex form. We didn't do much with it. And standard form we will do a lot with. Because what happens if my function doesn't factor? Yes, I can. The numbers where the graph crosses, if I go back here, let's go back to this graph here. Do these have to be nice numbers? Could they be not such nice numbers? They could be very bad numbers. In which case, I have to figure out how to find out what they are. And there's a formula for that. It's called quadratic formula, and we'll be doing that. But right now, we're not doing it, but that was where I would use standard form. So anytime you just have some function of x squared, it's all multiplied out, it's standard. Okay, let's look at your orange sheet and the answers to the first one.
Wait.
Yes, I am. This is the orange sheet. I believe they're online. I'm not going to swear to it. Okay. He's halfway between. Add them up and divide by 2. You could subtract and then count halfway. That's harder. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay. Number 1 is -2, -25. 2 is 4, -25. The x value is easy. The axis of symmetry. Number 3 is -8, -9. Gotta ask me questions on that. Now, on 4 and 5, you're given the x-intercepts. On 6 and 7, you actually have to factor those. Which ones would you like to look at? Number 4? We can pretend they didn't give us the x-intercepts because this is what you would do. I want to be able to graph that. And the significant points, India, which I've had away, the significant points are where that graph crosses the x-axis and the y-axis, and the axis of symmetry, wherever that is. So to find that, I factor it. I find the x-intercepts first. Find the x-intercepts. Now they gave them to us, but let's pretend they didn't. And so we factor this. We set it equal to 0 because the y-coordinate's 0 there. And factors of this. This is the x game. Now I noticed some assignments came in with no work, and I'm not believing that. Okay, this is 2, this is -8. What multiplies to give you 8? Joey?
4.
1 times 8 and 4 times 2. Because it's negative, I'll subtract. Excellent. So if you're getting that, you're doing great. So it's x minus 2 and x plus 4. Now I use zero product property, Selah. iPad should be down. You're supposed to be looking at your worksheet. I'm not sure I understand what you wrote there. So either x minus 2 equals 0 or x plus 4 equals 0. This is the way the Green's worksheet's going to be working today. Right? Joey? What's x going to be here? What makes that 0? What? Take away 2. Positive 2. Or x equals what? Negative 4. They have to be opposites. Now, I want to find the axis of symmetry. They gave us the x-intercepts. It's listed on our sheet. And to find the axis of symmetry, you add these up. 2 plus a negative 4 divided by 2. You could look at it graphically if you'd like. Or I just average them. That's all there is. So this is negative 2 divided by 2, which is negative 1. That's the axis of symmetry. Whoops, negative 1. See if I can put it in the right place. That would help. So I'll put that in black. There's negative 1. I'll put that in black. And my x-intercepts were at negative 4 and positive 2. Supposed to be halfway. And now, I need to find this bottom point right down there. I'm not sure where it is. So all I do is substitute negative 1 back into my function. Do you want to go in the factored form? Or let's go the regular form because they didn't give us to us factored. Sorry. Okay, so y equals x squared plus 2x minus 8. I want to find f of negative 1. You know what? I don't recommend you show the substitution. I recommend you just do it. This says I'm going to take this number and square it. India, what's negative 1 squared? What happens if you square any number that you know of? Is it positive or negative? Always positive. So that's positive 1. And can you take 2 times a negative 1, Taylor? What's that going to give you? I'm going to put this in here for x. That's 2 times a negative 1. Negative 2. All right, keep it simple. Don't show the substitutions. Easier just to do this. Minus 8. And this gives you negative 1. Minus 8 is negative 9. So where's the vertex? The vertex is at negative 1. That's the axis of symmetry. And then the y value where it turns around. Oh, let's do the domain and range while we're here. So that is going to look something like this. What's the domain? My picture's not very nice. Jans, what's my domain? What's the domain for this? Negative infinity to it. The domain for all parabolas, always, is negative infinity to infinity. So I should see that answer correct on the quiz. The range, you start here at the bottom, right here at negative 9, and it goes this way. So how do I write that? Brackets, negative 9 to infinity. That's everything in the parabolas. So tomorrow, I'll give you back your quizzes. We'll make corrections on the quizzes. You'll work on a review worksheet and become prepared for the summative test this Friday, which should be, if you know your vocabulary, should be an okay test for you, because it'll be very similar to the worksheet. Was there anything on the green one you had a question about? Number 1, it says the axis of symmetry is 7. Find the vertex. So we're going to add a new page. This is day 7. And number 1 is y equals x minus 9, x minus 5. Could I ask you for the x-intercepts? What are the x-intercepts? Couldn't ask. It's where these are 0. When is that 0? When x equals not negative 9, but positive 9 or 5. And to get the axis of symmetry, you add these up and divide by 2. So the answer is 7. Okay, so the author here already did that work for you. It said x equals 7. I want to find the y coordinate. So what I'm going to do is put 7 in here for x here and 7 in there. So I'm going to have 7 minus 9 times 7 minus 5, and that will give me the y value when x is 7. So this is negative 2. This is positive 2, so y is negative, no, 2 times 2. Now multiply 4. So it's 7, comma, negative 4. Yeah, I don't think I've answered. I don't think I've done the worksheet yet. I have to do that. Okay, so on questions 5 through 8, you have to do everything I just did. On 1 through 4, it's already done for you. Just plug in the x value, find the y. And on 9 through 12, you got to do everything. You got to do the factoring. And then tomorrow you'll have a review of the whole chapter, and then there'll be a communication review on Monday. So, that's the plan. And yes, I'm going to get the orange ones, and then we're going to take our quiz. No, doesn't take that long. But you will need the graphing